In the quiet town of Cedar Ridge lived Lily Carter, a 23-year-old woman who worked at the local library and spent her evenings stargazing from her backyard. She had no idea that her life was about to change forever one evening while walking. Home from work, she noticed something strange in the woods near the old mill. A faint blue glow pulsed through the trees, drawn by curiosity. She stepped off the path and pushed through the underbrush. The air grew colder with each step, and the hairs on her arms stood up suddenly. She stumbled over something half buried in the dirt. It was a sword unlike anything she had ever seen. The blade shimmered with shifting colors like oil on water, and the hilt was carved with symbols that seemed to move. When she looked away, she reached out without thinking and wrapped her fingers around the hilt the moment she touched it. A surge of energy shot through her body. Her vision blurred, and for a heartbeat she saw stars, galaxies, and a great war raging across the void. Then it was over. She stood there trembling. The sword now felt light as a feather in her hand and warm like a living thing. She had no idea what she had just done. But somewhere far beyond the stars, alarms began to blare across. The Imperial fleet of the Xanthari Dominion Commander Vora of the Xanthari High Guard stared at the glowing screen on her warship. The relic blade had been lost for 300 cycles after the death of the legendary human warrior Kalen Rai. Now its signal flared to life on a backwater planet designated Earth Sector 9. Vora clenched her four-fingered hands. The relic was not just a weapon. It was the key to the Dominion's ancient prophecy. The one who wielded it would either save or destroy their empire. And now it was in the hands of a human, an enemy species long thought extinct after the Great Purge. Vora turned to her second-in-command. Deploy the retrieval team, but do not harm the wielder. Not yet. We must see if she is the one or just another thief. Meanwhile, Lily walked home with the sword hidden under her coat. Her mind raced. She had seen things no one should see and felt things no one could explain. When she reached her small house, she locked the door and placed the sword on her kitchen table. It hummed softly as if breathing. She tried to research the symbols online but found nothing. Then her phone buzzed. It was her best friend Megan, who lived 2 streets over. "Hey Lily," Megan said. "You okay? You look pale. On your walk home I saw you go into the woods. That place is creepy." Lily hesitated, then told her everything. Megan's eyes widened, but instead of laughing she leaned forward. "That sword sounds important, maybe even dangerous. We should keep it safe, for now." That night Lily could not sleep. Every time she closed her eyes she saw flashes of battle alien cities burning, and a woman with silver skin and glowing red eyes standing over a fallen warrior. That must have been Kalen Rai, she realized. The sword was showing her memories, not just any memories, but the final moments of its last owner. She felt a deep sadness and a strange sense of duty. She did not understand why, but she knew she could not let this weapon fall into the wrong hands. Next morning, strange things began to happen. Birds fell silent. Cars stalled for no reason, and the sky turned an odd shade of violet. Lily looked out her window and saw 3 figures standing at the edge of her yard. They were tall, with smooth gray skin and eyes like black mirrors. They wore sleek armor that shimmered like liquid metal. One of them raised a hand and a beam of light shot toward her house. But the sword on the table flared bright blue, and a shield of energy formed around the house, deflecting the blast. Lily grabbed the sword. It felt alive in her grip, urging her to act. She ran outside. Megan appeared beside her, holding a baseball bat. "What are those things?" Lily shouted. "I don't know, but they want this sword." The lead alien spoke in a voice like grinding stone. "Human, you hold the relic of Kalen Rai. Surrender it and your death will be swift." Lily tightened her grip on the hilt. "I don't even know what this is," she said, "but I won't give it to you." The alien tilted its head, then lunged faster than she could blink. But Lily moved without thinking. The sword guided her. She slashed upward, and the alien stumbled back. A thin line of purple blood appeared on its chest. It hissed in surprise. "The human is bonded to the blade." Suddenly, a new voice cut through the air. "Hold your fire, Xanthari scum." Lily turned to see a woman standing on the roof of the garage. She had bronze skin, long black hair, and wore a patched-up flight suit. She dropped down with ease and stood between Lily and the aliens. "My name is Nora Cruz, and I'm here to help you, kid." Lily stared. "Who are you?" Nora grinned. I'm the last pilot of the Free Star Alliance and your great-grand-aunt on your mother's side. Lily blinked what the aliens charged again, but Nora pulled a strange pistol from her belt and fired bolts of green energy while Lily swung the sword. Each strike sent shockwaves through the air. The aliens retreated, but not before one whispered, "You are enemy. Number one now human. The prophecy begins." After the fight, Nora explained everything. Humans were not native to Earth. They were refugees from a destroyed colony world brought here centuries ago to hide from the Zenthari Dominion. Kalen Rai was Lily's ancestor, a hero who fought the Dominion and hid the relic blade on Earth before dying. The Dominion believed all humans were gone. But now that Lily had awakened the blade, she had become their greatest threat and their greatest hope. Nora said the Dominion would send more soldiers and, soon, Lily looked at the sword, then at her quiet town. She could not let them destroy it. She had to leave. That evening, Lily packed a small bag. Megan hugged her tightly. "Be safe, Lily. You've always been stronger than you think." Lily nodded, then followed Nora to a hidden hangar behind the old airstrip. There sat a battered starship shaped like a crescent moon. "This is the Nightingale," Nora said. "Our ticket off this rock." Lily stepped aboard and looked back at Earth one last time. She was no longer just Lily Carter the librarian. She was the wielder of the relic, the heir of Kalen Rai and enemy number one in the old world. As the Nightingale lifted into the violet sky, alarms blared across 100 Zenthari warships. Commander Vora watched the human ship vanish into the stars. A slow smile spread across her face. "So the prophecy walks again," she whispered. "Let the games begin." Lily stood at the ship's viewport, the relic blade strapped to her back. She felt fear, but also something else. Purpose. The stars ahead were unknown, but for the first time in her life she knew exactly where she belonged. Among them, fighting for a future. She never knew she was part of the old world had named her enemy. But the new world would call her hero, and she was ready to prove it. The Nightingale shuddered as it punched through the upper atmosphere. Lily gripped the edge of the viewport, her knuckles white. The relic blade hummed softly against her back as if sensing her fear beside her. Nora Cruz worked the controls with calm precision. Her fingers danced over glowing panels and flickering switches. "Don't worry, kid. The ship may look like scrap, but she's got heart." Lily swallowed hard. Heart or not, they were heading straight into the unknown. And the Zenthari Dominion already knew who she was. Enemy number one, a title that felt too big for someone who just shelved books and made tea for her neighbors. As the blue curve of Earth shrank behind them, stars stretched into streaks and the ship entered the silent black. Nora flipped a switch and the cabin lights dimmed to a soft amber weave. "Got a few hours before the Dominion can track us through the nebula belt," she said, turning to Lily. "Now tell me everything you felt when you touched the blade." Lily closed her eyes. She remembered the rush, the visions, the sorrow. "I saw a woman in silver armor. She was fighting hundreds of Zenthari soldiers. She fell, but she hid the sword before she died." Nora nodded. "That was Kalen Rai. Your great-great-grandmother. She was the last human warlord who stood against the purge, and she swore that one day a descendant would rise with the relic to finish what she started." Lily looked down at her hands. They were just ordinary hands, but now they carried a legacy. "She never asked for why me." Nora gave a small smile. "Because the blade chose you, not the other way around. It only bonds with someone who has the will to protect, not to conquer." Lily thought about her life in Cedar Ridge, the quiet days, the familiar faces, the safety of routine. That life was gone now, and she wasn't sure if she missed it or was relieved to leave it behind. Suddenly the ship jolted. Alarms flashed red. Nora cursed under her breath. "They found us already." How Nora slammed her fist on the console. "The relic emits a unique energy signature every time it activates. We lit up like a beacon when you fought those scouts." Lily felt a pang of guilt. "I didn't know." Nora shook her head. "Not your fault, but we need to move faster. Hold on." She yanked a lever, and the Nightingale banked hard to the left, throwing Lily against the wall outside. 3 Zenthari interceptors streaked past, firing plasma bolts that sizzled against the shields. The ship groaned under the strain. Nora punched in a sequence and the stars ahead warped into a swirling tunnel. "A jump gate," Lily whispered. "Yeah, and our only chance?" Nora said, gritting her teeth. But the gate is unstable. If we miscalculate, we could end up anywhere or nowhere at all. Lily took a deep breath. Do it. Nora nodded and engaged the drive. The world twisted, light bent, time stretched, and for a moment Lily felt like she was dissolving into stardust. Then, with a violent snap, they emerged into a new system. The sky here was filled with broken ships and drifting debris, a graveyard of war. This is the Ashes Belt, Nora said quietly. The site of the last human stand 300 years ago. Lily stared at the wreckage. Some of the hulls still bore faded human insignias. Her chest tightened. These were her people. Before she could speak, the comms crackled to life. A voice smooth and cold filled the cabin. Lily Carter, you carry the relic, but you are not ready. The voice belonged to Commander Vora. I offer you a choice. Surrender the blade and live, or resist and watch your species erased from memory again. Lily stepped forward, her voice steady. I won't give it to you. Vora laughed softly. Very well, then prove you are more than just a ghost of the past. The transmission cut out and Nora exhaled. Slowly, she was testing you. Lily frowned. What do you mean? The Dominion believes the prophecy says the wielder must pass 3 trials to claim the relic fully. Vora wants to see if you can survive the first one. Lily looked around the debris field. What is the first trial? Nora pointed to a massive derelict carrier floating in the distance. The Iron Vow Kalen Rise flagship. It holds the first key, but it's guarded by the Echo Secos. Lily asked. Yeah, Nora said grimly. AI remnants of fallen soldiers. They replay their last battles over and over, trapped in loops of pain and rage. If you go in there, you'll have to face them. And your own fears, too. Lily touched the hilt of the relic. It warmed under her fingers. She knew she had no choice. If she wanted to stop the Dominion, she had to become more than a librarian. She had to become a warrior. They docked the Nightingale in a torn hangar bay of the Iron Vow. The air inside was stale and cold. Gravity flickered as they stepped onto the deck. Lily could hear distant sounds of clashing metal and shouting voices that faded in and out like a broken radio. Nora handed her a small device. This will help you navigate, but the relic is your real guide. Trust it. Lily nodded and walked forward, alone. The corridors twisted and changed as if the ship itself remembered the chaos of its final battle. Shadows moved at the edge of her vision. Voices whispered her name. She kept walking until she reached the command chamber in the center. Floated, a glowing orb, the first key, but standing between her and it was a figure in tattered human armor. It turned and Lily gasped. It was her own face, pale and hollow eyes filled with despair. You think you can save anyone? The Echo said you couldn't even save your parents in the car crash when you were 8. Lily froze. The memory hit her like a punch. She had buried it for years. Tears welled in her eyes. But then she felt the relic pulse in her hand, warm and steady. She looked at the Echo and said, I couldn't save them, but I can honor them by not running away. The Echo flickered, then dissolved into light. The orb floated into her palm and the ship shuddered as if sighing in relief. Back on the Nightingale. Nora smiled. You passed the trial of memory. Lily sat down exhausted. What are the other trials? Nora hesitated. The trial of sacrifice and the trial of silence. Lily didn't ask what they meant. She already knew they would hurt. Just then the sensors beeped. A small ship approached. Not Centauri, but human design. It docked with a soft clang and the hatch opened. A young woman stepped out with short curly hair and sharp green eyes. Hey, I'm Dana. Rodriguez, last engineer of the Freestar Alliance. Nora sent a distress call weeks ago. I came as soon as I could. Nora grinned. Looks like we just got our crew back together. Dana examined the relic with awe. This thing powered the entire Alliance during the war. But after Kalen died, it vanished. Everyone thought it was a myth. Lily looked at the blade. Now it felt less like a burden and more like a promise. Dana hooked up a scanner and frowned. The Dominion is massing a fleet near the Orion Veil. They're preparing for something big. Nora stood up. Then we need to get to the second key before they do. Where is it? Dana pointed to a star map. A hidden moon orbiting a dead star called Solus Minor. But it's deep in Dominion space. Lily stood too. Then we go now. The relic glowed faintly, as if in agreement. The three women looked at each other. No more running, no more hiding. It was time to fight back. The old world called her enemy number one, but Lily Carter was done. Being afraid she would walk into the fire if she had to, because the stars were watching, and for the first time in centuries, humanity had a chance to rise again. The silence after Vora knelt lasted only a breath, but it changed everything around them. The air hummed with unseen energy. The trees bent slightly as if bowing too, and the relic on Lily's arm pulsed with a soft golden light. Vora rose slowly, her expression unreadable, but her voice held no threat anymore. The prophecy spoke of a wielder who would break the cycle not with fire but with choice. She said. Lily looked at her hands. The silver ring glowed faintly. I didn't break anything, I just said no to becoming what I feared. Nora and Dana stepped out of the Nightingale, weapons lowered but eyes sharp. They had seen too much betrayal to trust so fast. Vora turned to them. I do not ask for your trust. Only your witness. The Dominion has ruled through fear for 300 cycles because we believed strength meant control. But your friend showed us another way. Lily walked toward the Zinthari commander. Why now? Why kneel? Vora met her gaze. Because the relic did not burn me when I came. Close it recognized me not as an enemy, but as one who can change back aboard the Iron Maw. Things moved quickly. Vora ordered all Dominion forces to stand down, a command that sent shockwaves through the fleet. Some captains obeyed instantly. Others hesitated, but none fired. The Nightingale was escorted, not captured, and Lily was given quarters that overlooked the stars. Not a cell. Dana worked with Zinthari engineers to share old human tech. Long thought lost while Nora stood guard, her hand never far from her pistol. But her stance softened with each passing hour. Lily spent most of her time in the relic chamber, a circular room at the heart of the ship where the blade had once been kept in stasis. Now it was empty except for a single pedestal. She sat there, often letting the memories of Kalen Rai flow through her, not as visions but as lessons. The old warrior had fought hard but died alone. Lily would not make that mistake. She had friends, allies, even former enemies who now watched her with something like hope. On the third day, Vora brought news of faction within the Dominion. High Council refused to accept the end of the war. They called Lily a trick, a human illusion meant to weaken them. They had seized control of the core worlds and activated the final protocol. The Silence Engine, a weapon designed to erase all sentient thought in a star system, leaving only obedient machines behind its first target. Earth Lily stood so fast, she knocked over the chair. They think destroying my home will stop me. Vora nodded. They believe fear will bring the fleet back to their side. Lily looked at the relic. It shimmered in response. She knew what she had to do. We go to Earth not to fight, but to stand between the weapon and the people. Nora agreed without hesitation. Dana began modifying the Nightingale's shields to withstand the engine's pulse. But even she knew it might not be enough. The journey back was tense. The Iron Maw led a small loyalist fleet through contested, space-dodging rebel patrols and minefields left over from old battles. Lily spent hours talking to Zinthari soldiers, learning their names. Their stories. Many had never seen a human before. They thought Earth was a myth, a ghost story told to scare young recruits. Now they saw Lily not as a monster, but as a woman who carried the weight of two species on her shoulders. When they dropped out of warp near Earth, the sky was already wrong. A sickly green haze hung over the planet, and in orbit floated the Silence Engine, a massive ring of black metal humming with terrible power. Rebel Dominion ships formed a wall around it, their weapons charged and ready. Vora opened a channel. This is Commander Vora of the True Dominion. Stand down or be destroyed. The reply came cold and sharp. Traitor, you bow to vermin. We will cleanse this system and begin anew. Lily stepped to the comms. Her voice calm. I am not vermin. I am Lily Carter, and I stand for everyone who wants to live without fear. The rebel commander laughed, then fire the engine. The ring began to spin faster and faster. Light bent around it. Time itself seemed to slow. Lily turned to Nora and Dana. Get the Nightingale close. I have to reach the core. Nora shook her head. It's suicide. Lily touched her arm. I survived 3 trials. This is the 4th, and it is mine to walk dressed in a simple flight suit with no armor. She boarded a small shuttle. The relic fused to her arm, glowing brighter with every second as she approached the engine. The rebel ships fired, but the Iron Maw and Loyalist fleet held them back. Creating a narrow path for her, Dana had rerouted all power to the shuttle's forward shield. But it flickered under the strain. Lily did not flinch. She flew straight into the heart of the ring inside. The engine was not metal but living code, a storm of data and energy that sought to overwrite all minds. Lily stepped out onto a platform suspended in nothingness. The air crackled with static. The silence engine spoke not in words but in feelings. You cannot stop order. It said chaos leads to pain, only silence brings peace. Lily closed her eyes and remembered Cedar Ridge, her mother, reading her stories, her father fixing the porch swing, Megan laughing under the stars. Those were not chaos, they were life. She raised her arm. The relic blazed with light, not to destroy but to connect. She reached into the engine not with force but with memory. She showed it. Joy, grief, love, loss. The full, messy truth of being alive. The engine shuddered, the green haze faded, replaced by soft blue light. The ring stopped spinning and crumbled into dust. On the surface of Earth, people looked up and saw the stars again, clear and bright in orbit. The rebel ships powered down their weapons. One by one, their commanders silent, not from the engine but from awe. Vora watched from the Iron Maw, tears tracing lines down her gray cheeks. She had spent her life believing strength was control, but Lily had shown her that true strength was courage, to feel, to hope, to change. Back on the Nightingale, the three women sat in silence for a long time. Then Dana spoke. So what now? Lily looked out the viewport. Earth was safe, but the galaxy was still healing. We rebuild, she said together. Humans and Zenthari, side by side, not as enemies but as neighbors. Nora smiled. Then let's get to work. In the weeks that followed, Lily became a bridge, not a ruler. She traveled between worlds, listening more than speaking, helping old wounds heal with time and truth. The relic no longer glowed with battle light but with a quiet warmth like sunlight on water. She visited Cedar Ridge once more. Megan hugged her tight and said, "You look tired but happy." Lily nodded. I am. On a clear night, she stood in her old backyard, the relic now just a faint silver line on her skin. She looked up at the stars and knew she would never be just Lily Carter, the librarian, again. But she also knew she did not have to be a hero to matter. She just had to be herself, honest, kind, and willing to stand in the silence when others ran fair away on a Zenthari world. Children learned human songs in school. On Earth, engineers studied alien tech to heal the planet, and in the space between stars, two species that once sought to destroy each other now built something new together, all because one woman chose not to fight but to understand, and in that choice the old world ended, and a new one began. The Nightingale drifted through the silent void near the edge of Dominion space, its hull patched with fresh welds and its engines running quieter than before. Inside, Lily sat cross-legged on the floor, the relic blade resting across her knees. She had spent the last 2 days meditating as Nora taught her, not with chants or rituals but with memory. She let the blade show her flashes of Kalen Rye's life, the battles, the losses, the quiet moments between wars. She began to understand that strength was not just in the swing of a sword but in the choice to keep going even when hope was thin. Dana worked at the console behind her, recalibrating the stealth field to mask their energy signature. We've got one shot at this, she said. If we get caught, near Solus Minor, will be space dust before we can say jump. Nora entered from the lower deck carrying 3 ration packs. She tossed one to Lily and one to Dana. Eat up, we're entering the dead zone in 6 hours, no comms, no sensors, just us and the dark. Lily unwrapped the pack. It tasted like cardboard. But she chewed slowly, her mind already on the trial ahead, the trial of sacrifice. What would she have to give up this time? Her freedom, her friends, her life she didn't know. But the relic seemed to whisper that the cost would be real as the ship crossed into the dead zone. The stars outside dimmed as if veiled by ash. The nebula here was thick with ionized dust left over from an ancient supernova. It swallowed light and sound and made navigation nearly impossible. Dana guided them by old star charts and gut feeling while Nora kept watch for patrol drones. They moved like ghosts through the gloom until finally a pale gray moon appeared on the viewscreen. Solus Minor was smaller than Earth. With cracked plains and deep canyons carved by forgotten rivers at its center, rose a black spire taller than any mountain. The Vault of Echoes, Dana whispered. That is where the second key is hidden. But the whole moon is laced with Dominion traps. And worse, the Silence Field, Lily frowned. What is the Silence Field? Nora looked grim. It's a psychic dampener. It blocks thoughts, emotions, even memories. If you stay too long, you forget who you are. Why you came here. Everything. Lily stood and strapped the relic to her back. Then I go alone. Nora started to argue, but Lily held up a hand. If I lose myself, you two need to be able to leave without me. Dana looked away, her eyes wet, but she nodded. We will wait for 12 hours if you are not back. We pull out. Lily hugged them both quickly, then stepped into the landing pod. The surface of Solus Minor was colder than she expected, the air thin and bitter. The silence field hit her the moment she stepped out. It was like a heavy blanket pressing. On her mind she could still think, but her feelings began to fade like colors in old photographs. She walked toward the spire. Her steps slow and deliberate, each one harder than the last. She passed broken statues of human warriors, their faces worn, smooth by time and wind. She tried to remember Megan's laugh, her mother's voice, the smell of old books in the library, but the memories slipped through her fingers like smoke. Halfway up the spire, she found the first test, a room with 3 doors each, marked with a symbol. One showed a heart, one a sword, one a home above them. Words in ancient human script. The price of power is loss. Choose what you will leave behind. Lily stared at the doors, her mind foggy, but the relic pulsed warm against her. Back she reached out and touched the door with the heart. It opened to reveal a vision of Megan standing in Cedar Ridge, calling her name. Come home, Lily, it's safe here. Tears formed in her eyes, but she shook her head. I can't. The vision faded. The second door, the sword, showed Nora and Dana fighting Xanthari soldiers without her. They were outnumbered, bleeding, but still standing. Lily tried to run to them, but the door shut before she could step through the third door. The home showed her small house, the lights on the porch swing moving in the breeze. It was peaceful. It was everything she had lost and everything she might never have again. She placed her hand on the door, but did not open it. Instead, she turned and walked to the center of the room, where a pedestal held the second key, a silver disc etched with constellations. As she reached for it, the silence field intensified her name. Who was she? Lily Carter, or just a girl with a sword? The relic flared bright blue, and a single memory broke through. Kalen Rye, standing on a burning world, holding the blade high, shouting, "We do not fight for glory, we fight so others may live." Lily grabbed the key, and the field shattered around her. Emotions rushed back so strong she fell to her knees, sobbing with relief and pain. She stumbled back to the pod, the key clutched tight in her hand. The 12 hours were almost up. Nora and Dana helped her aboard. Her skin was pale, her eyes hollow. But she was alive. You did it, Nora said softly. What did you sacrifice? Lily looked at her hands. I gave up the dream of going back, she whispered. Cedar Ridge is gone for me now. I can never be just Lily Carter again. Dana squeezed her shoulder. Then you'll be something more. Back on the Nightingale, they studied the key. It projected a star map pointing to a third location deep in uncharted space. The trial of silence would be last, but before they could plan their next move, alarms blared. Red lights flashed. Dominion ships dropped out of warp. Surrounding them, a full battle group. At the center floated Vora's flagship. The Iron Maw. Vora's voice filled the cabin. You have passed 2 trials, human, but the Dominion does not wait for prophecies to finish. You will come with me now, or your friends die? Lily stood at the viewport, her body weak but her voice clear. You want me? Come and get me. Nora activated the engines. Dana rerouted power to shields. They were outnumbered but not outmatched. The Nightingale darted between enemy fire weaving. Through plasma blasts and missile trails, Lily held the relic tight and felt it respond to her will. She focused on the Xanthari fighters, and the blade sent out a pulse that disrupted their systems for just a second. But it was enough. Nora fired a volley of torpedoes, taking out 2 ships in the chaos. Dana shouted, the key just unlocked a hidden jump point. It's unstable, but it leads away from here. "Do it," Nora yelled. Lily closed her eyes and poured her will into the relic. The blade glowed, so bright it lit up the whole cockpit, and the jump point tore open like a wound in space they plunged through. Just as the Iron Maw fired its main cannon, on the other side they floated in calm darkness. A single planet hung in the distance, blue and green with white clouds. It looked like Earth, but older, wiser. "This is Genesis Prime," Dana said, "the birthplace of the first humans before the Exodus. The final trial is here." Lily looked at the planet and felt a deep pull in her chest. Not fear, not duty, but belonging. The relic was quiet now, as if resting. It knew the hardest part was yet to come. She turned to her friends. "Thank you for not leaving me." Nora smiled. "We are with you to the end." They descended through the atmosphere. The sky turned, gold, then violet, then deep blue. The land below was covered in forests and rivers, but no cities, no lights, just nature reclaiming what was once lost. They landed near a stone circle. In the center stood a mirror made of liquid metal. The trial of silence. Lily walked toward it alone. As she approached, the mirror showed not her reflection, but the truth of her soul. She saw herself wielding the relic not to protect, but to punish. She saw herself becoming like the Dominion, cold and certain in her righteousness. The mirror whispered, "You could end them all. No more war, no more pain, just silence forever." For a long moment, she stood there, tempted. Then she remembered Megan's laugh, Nora's stubborn hope, Dana's quiet courage. The relic was not a weapon of conquest. It was a promise to protect, even when it hurt, even when it cost everything. She placed her hand on the mirror and said, "I choose to listen." Not to silence. The mirror shattered into light, and the third key rose from the ground. A simple ring of silver. It fit on her finger, and the relic blade fused with her arm. Not as a weapon, but as part of her. She felt every star, every life, every hope in the galaxy, and she understood her true purpose, not to be a hero or an enemy, but a bridge above the planet. The Iron Maw appeared. Vora had followed them. Lily stepped out of the ship, no armor, no fear, just herself. Vora descended in a drop pod, her silver eyes wide. "You completed the trials?" she said softly. "The prophecy is real." Lily nodded, and the relic glowed not with power, but with peace. "I am not your enemy." Vora stared, then slowly knelt before her, the first Xanthari in 300 years to bow to a human. "The war is over." Lily looked up at the stars and knew her journey was just beginning, but for the first time she was not afraid, because she was not alone. Months passed, and the galaxy settled into a fragile peace. Lily Carter no longer wore the relic as a blade, but as a quiet mark on her skin. A silver line that shimmered only when she needed reminding that she was part of something larger than herself. She lived not on Earth nor on any Xanthari world, but aboard a new ship. The Dawn Chorus, built by human and Xanthari hands. Together its halls echoed with 2 languages, 2 histories, and a shared hope. Nora served as its captain, Dana as chief engineer, and Lily as what Vora called the bridge, a title with no rank but deep respect. The Dawn Chorus traveled not to wage war, but to mend it. They visited broken colonies where humans and Xanthari had once fought. Now, living side by side in uneasy silence, Lily would walk among them, not with speeches, but with questions. What do you need? What do you fear? What do you hope for? She listened more than she spoke, and slowly trust grew like green shoots after a long winter. One day the ship received a faint signal from the outer rim, a distress call in old human code, the kind used during the first Exodus. Dana traced it to a frozen moon orbiting a dead star. No record showed any settlement there, but the signal repeated every 7 hours, steady and stubborn. Nora frowned. This could be a trap. Lily shook her head. Or it could be someone we left behind. They arrived under cloak of a solar storm. The moon's surface white and endless, except for a single structure half buried in ice. As they landed, the relic on Lily's arm grew warm, not with danger, but with recognition. She stepped out alone, the cold bit through her coat. But she did not hurry at the entrance of the structure. She found a symbol carved into the ice, the same one from Kalen. Rise sword. She touched it, and the door slid open. Inside, the air was warm and lit by soft blue lamps. Rows of stasis pods lined the walls. Most were dark, but one glowed faintly. Lily approached it and gasped. Inside floated a woman with Lily's eyes, her face peaceful but pale. The nameplate read Elena Carter. Lily's great-grandmother presumed lost during the purge. She had not died. She had hidden here waiting for the relic to return. Lily placed her hand on the glass, and the pod hissed open. Elena took a shuddering breath, then opened her eyes. For a long moment she said nothing. Then she whispered, "You have her eyes just like Kaylin's." Lily helped her sit up, tears in her own eyes. "How did you survive?" Elena smiled weakly. "I was the keeper of the last seed vault, human DNA's and Thari records, even the original code for the relic. I knew someone would come one day back on the dawn chorus." Elena recovered slowly, her body weak from centuries of sleep, but her mind sharp. She told them of the final plan the elders had before the purge. They knew they could not win, so they scattered seeds of their culture across the galaxy, hidden in data crystals, buried in asteroids, locked in ancient ruins. The relic's true purpose was never to fight, but to awaken those seeds when the time was right. Lily looked at her hands, the weight of that truth settling deep. "This was never about me being a hero. It was about remembering who we are." Elena nodded. "And now the Dominion is changing too. Vora has called for a new council, one with human voices at the table, but not all Xanthari agree. Some still see us as pests to be controlled." As if on cue, the comms crackled. Vora's voice came through, urgent. "Lily, we have a problem. A splinter group calling themselves the Pure Flame has taken over the archive world of Xanthar. They claim the relic's awakening corrupted our history. They are burning every record that shows cooperation with humans and executing those who defend them." Lily stood the relic, glowing softly. "They are erasing the truth again." Nora set a course without being asked. Dana prepped the shields. "We are not losing those archives," Lily said quietly. "They hold the proof that we were never meant to be enemies." The archive world was a planet of towers, each one filled with data crystals spanning 10,000 years of Xanthari history. Smoke rose from the central spire as they approached. Rebel ships patrolled the skies, but they flew not with Dominion colors but with black banners. Marked by a white flame, Vora waited in orbit. Her fleet outnumbered but holding position, she boarded the dawn chorus, her face grim. "They call me traitor for kneeling to you," she said. "But I would kneel 1,000 times if it meant saving this truth." Lily led the way down in a small shuttle, the relic guiding her through the burning streets. Xanthari citizens ran, in fear, some clutching crystals to their chests, others standing defiant before the flames. She found the main archive chamber. Its doors shattered inside. Rebels smashed crystals with hammers. Their leader, a tall Xanthari with a scarred face, turned and sneered. "The human comes to steal our past. She does not belong here." Lily stepped forward. "I do not steal." "I remember," she said. "And so, do you, or you would not be so afraid of these records?" The scarred Xanthari lunged, but Lily did not draw a weapon. She simply held up her hand. The relic flared, and every intact crystal in the room lit up with light images of humans and Xanthari, building cities together, sharing art, healing each other after wars. The truth flooded the chamber. The rebels froze, their certainty cracking like thin ice. The scarred leader fell to his knees, tears streaming down his face. "I was taught they were monsters," he whispered. "But this is real." Lily helped him up. "The past is not yours to burn, it belongs to everyone." By nightfall, the fires were out, the archives saved. Vora ordered the rebels taken not to prison, but to re-education. They would learn what they had tried to destroy. Elena stood among the restored crystals, her hand on Lily's shoulder. "You did not just save data. You saved a future back on the dawn chorus." Lily stood at the viewport, watching the archive world glow softly below. Her Nora joined her. "We did good today." Lily nodded. "But this is just one world. There are more seeds out there, more truths waiting to be found." Dana called from the bridge. Another signal just came in, this time from the Andromeda fringe. Lily smiled. "Then we go tomorrow." But tonight she sat with Elena and listened to stories of the old Earth, the songs they sang, the gardens they grew, the dreams they carried into the stars. She realized then that her journey was not about ending a war, but about stitching time back together, thread by thread, memory by memory. In the weeks that followed, the dawn chorus became a symbol not of power but of return. Wherever they went, humans and Xanthari alike came forward with hidden relics, old journals, family Crest songs passed down in whispers. The galaxy was remembering itself, and Lily was its quiet keeper, one evening as the ship drifted between stars. Lily stood alone on the observation deck, the relic cool against her skin. She thought of Cedar Ridge, of Megan, of the quiet life she once knew, and she did not miss it. Not because it was small, but because she had grown beyond it, not into a warrior or a queen, but into a witness, a weaver of broken things. Far away on Earth, children learned Zenthari, poems in school on Zenthar. Human music played in public squares and in the deep dark between galaxies. Two species once divided by fear, now reached for each other. Not with weapons, but with open hands. All because one woman chose to listen instead, a fight to remember instead of forget. And in that choice, the stars themselves seemed to sigh in relief. The old world had called her enemy number one, but the new world knew her true name. Lily Carter, the Rememberer, and she would walk among the stars as long as there were stories left to tell.